Yeah, so my name is Mendez, and I work for a small charity called Solidarity Sports. We work with children that are recovering from trauma and help to boost their confidence and self-esteem through sports and many other activities as well. First of all, as soon as Grenfell took place, a few days later, we found out that a family who we loved dearly passed away. Nora, Yahya, Firdaus, Yaqub, and their father all passed away. So we felt completely traumatized, and we were so sad. We went all around the local hospitals trying to find them, but unfortunately we didn't locate any of them, so they perished. So for us it's been a great sense of sadness over the past 3 years, and we wanted to try to do something positive from such a terrible event. And having had a conversation with a close friend of Firdaus, we found out that it was her dream to go to Disneyland. So within a few months we've raised the funds to take a small group of children to Disneyland Paris to fulfill the dream of Firdaus. And that was like a mixed holiday. In a sense, we were really happy to fulfill her dream, but the emotions were still very raw, so there was still a lot of anguish, and we still felt very sad that she was not with us. So this year we wanted to branch out the Hashim family legacy. So it's all about making children's dreams come true, and we've done Disneyland 3 years in a row, 2017, 18 and 19. So we're going to do Disneyland again in 2020, but we were going to expand it and also do a trip to go to Barcelona and watch Messi play, because we know that Firdaus's brother Yahya was a massive football fan. All he ever used to talk to me about football. We would go to PGR on the Isle of Wight, where there's all these different adventure activities, and Yahya would always tap me on my back and be like, "Sean, when can we play football?" So in memory of Yahya, we had planned to go to Barcelona to watch a game in the Nou Camp, which was really fantastic. But unfortunately, because of the COVID virus, that's been suddenly ended. So we can't go there anymore, but we're hoping to go next year instead. And we found other ways of supporting our families. For example, immediately when a lot of them had to self-isolate, the first thing was just making sure that they had enough food, making sure that we were supporting them emotionally. We've set up a buddy service where we've got over 100 children at the moment who are matched up with a caring volunteer, and it's their job to call the child every 2 or 3 days and just find out how they're doing. And it's amazing how much you can do online through Zoom and WhatsApp video. So some of the children are playing cards with their buddies, others are doing gymnastics and learning how to do the splits and things like that. So for us, the most important thing is that our families do not feel like they have been forgotten during the COVID crisis. Even though there's been a lot of isolation, one thing's isolating physically, but emotionally you can still have that relationship. So for us, it's really important that we stay in contact with our families. One of the things that we did is we set up a food bank. So we've been giving our families food, making sure that they're not going hungry, because many of them are already living on the breadline before COVID. But because of COVID, things are even harder. And we also have some families who do not have access to public funds, so they can't claim universal credit. They can't go on furlough, so they're really struggling financially. So we have to make sure that they've got enough food. In addition to that, we've also set up a buddy service to make sure that our families and our children do not feel lonely, so we can stay in contact with them. During the May half term, we had a group of fantastic volunteers that put some on activities, especially for our children. So we did yoga, we did boxing with Chris from Fit for Life Youth, which our children really enjoyed. We did some cooking activities and some dance with one of our volunteers called Amira. So we've had to adapt our activities really quickly during the COVID crisis and show that we're agile and flexible as an organisation to make sure that we're supporting our families. And one other thing that we did is there was a lot of talk about using online services, and the internet there's like a whole world in the internet, and it can really open up so many opportunities for children. But many of our families, they didn't have laptops, they don't have tablets. So we raised some funds to purchase some tablets and laptops for our families, and we gave it to them completely free of charge, so then they can do their homework, instead of using their parents' phone to do their homework, which can be really challenging and it's not good for their eyesight. So we decided to give them, let them be online so they can access that world. And we also found out through public health, there was an article that came out that said that children should be taking vitamin D supplements, because they're at home so long, they're not getting enough vitamin D. So we got in contact with Vitabiotics, and they very kindly donated 1,000 packets of vitamin D. So we distributed them to all of our families, and we actually had enough to share with a few other organisations as well. So that's been really positive, and we're overwhelmed with the love and the support that we've received from community groups and also other registered charities and corporates as well. For me, when I think of the third year anniversary of Grenfell, I think that there's so many unanswered questions. It's like, you would not expect that 3 years after 72 people died in West London, not a single person's been arrested, not a single person's been charged. There's delayed justice. And for me, this delayed justice is just making the trauma worse. It's giving people more pain. It's giving them more anguish, you know. I know there's been a lot of talk about moving on and healing and Grenfell fatigue, but the way I see it, I don't feel any of that, you know. The only way that people can begin to heal and to overcome their loss and to really move forward in a positive way is when we have some sense of justice. And justice is not having an inquiry which is just dragging on, which is not really looking at the root cause as to why there was a fire in the first place. And there's people that were in meetings, you know, that ticked boxes that said that it was okay for that cladding to go up. Where are they now? Why haven't they been arrested? Why haven't they been charged, you know? So I think that it's just disgraceful the way that it's been handled from day one, really. And there's been a real lack of transparency, of honesty. And I'm sure that if this was a tower block, and there was a massive fire that took place in Knightsbridge, people would be in jail already. There would be long sentences already. So I think it's disgraceful. There's so much frustration, so much anger, and it's not going to go away until we get some form of justice.